Welcome back to News USA. It is December 1st, 2020, and it has been an interesting few days. We saw Donald Trump on Sunday Morning Futures. This is a Fox News show. I think the host is Maria Bartiromo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. In the interview, he was slamming the justice system. He was asking, what type of justice system is this? He wasn't getting his way, so that was his question. We saw him pretty much give the same old story about how there's widespread election fraud, how the voter systems were changing votes in favor of Biden and taking them away from him. We also saw Arizona and Wisconsin certify their election results, pretty much affirming Biden as the victor of both of those states. Some Trump allies filed a lawsuit to try and halt the certification of results in Pennsylvania, to which the Supreme Court denied that case as well, stating that there was just absolutely no concrete evidence, as we already know. And last but not least, here today, it's being reported that William Barr says that there is no widespread election fraud. This is William Barr here. William Barr was actually appointed as Attorney General by President Trump. He was put in there by Trump. Trump selected him. He took over in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a Republican Attorney General who, has been a staunch supporter of President Trump, and he is now speaking out and saying the opposite of what the president is saying, that, no, there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. Let's take a look at the story. Attorney General William Barr said Tuesday the Justice Department has not uncovered evidence of widespread voter fraud that would change the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. His comments in an interview with the Associated Press come despite President Donald Trump's repeated baseless claims that the election was stolen, Trump's effort to subvert the results of the 2020 presidential election, and his refusal to concede his loss to President-elect Joe Biden. Okay. Barr said U.S. attorneys and FBI agents have been working to follow up specific complaints and information they've received, but they've uncovered no evidence that would change the outcome of the election. Barr was headed to the White House later for a previously scheduled meeting. Let's take a look at what he says. This is a quote from William Barr. To date, we have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the election. We have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the election. That's coming from the Attorney General, folks. That is the Attorney General, a Republican, a Trump supporter. Yeah, let's see. Let's take a look at a little bit more of this story. Barr didn't name. Hold on for a second. Let me get it right. Here we go. Barr didn't name Powell specifically, but said there's been one assertion that would be systemic fraud, and that would be the claim that machines were programmed essentially to skew the election results. And the DHS and Department of Justice have looked into that. And so far, we haven't seen anything to substantiate that, Barr said. He also said people were confusing the use of the federal criminal justice system with allegations that should be made in civil lawsuits. He said such a remedy for those complaints would be a top-down audit conducted by state or local officials, not the U.S. Justice Department. There's a growing tendency to use the criminal justice system as sort of a default fix-all, and people don't like something, they want the Department of Justice to come in and investigate. Let's see what else he says. Most claims of fraud are very particularized, to a particular set of circumstances or actors or conduct. They are not systemic allegations, and those have been run down. They are being run down. Some have been broad and potentially cover a few thousand votes. They have been followed up on. So pretty much he's gone through the list of every claim, or almost every claim. He's talked about the voting systems, the Dominion voting system, saying that there's no substance there. He's talked about the fraud being widespread. He said there's nothing there as well. He's shooting down just about every claim, and he also says that the fraud is not on a scale to where it would even make a difference. It wouldn't change anything. So what are we doing? What is going on? What is Donald Trump doing? What is the president doing? What is he trying to gain? What is it that he's trying to get? We don't know. Let's take a look at another story. A Trump supporter who gave $2.5 million to fight election fraud wants his money back. He wants his money back. He's had enough. So there are some, $2.5 million. You are a strong supporter if you give $2.5 million of your own money to someone to help their campaign, if you really believe that they've been defrauded. It doesn't get any more real than that. That's a lot of money. Let's take a look at this real quick. Frederick Eshelman, a businessman from North Carolina, said he gave the money to True the Vote, a pro-Trump election ethics group in Texas that promised to file lawsuits in 7 swing states as part of its push to investigate, litigate, and expose suspected illegal balloting and fraud in the 2020 general election. Now, what happened is the folks who took this money, they went to court or attempted to go to court and then dropped their case. They dropped their case. They didn't even move forward with it. Let me see if I can find where True the Vote dropped its legal actions and discontinued its Validate the Vote 2020 campaign, then refused to return his calls when he demanded an explanation. So here's yet another case where even Republicans themselves, even the people themselves who are going to try to fight for President Trump, see that, man, we really don't have a case. But now they don't want to give this guy his money back. They even offered, he's suing them. They even offered to give him $1 million back if he would just drop the lawsuit. But he says, I'm not going for that. I want all of my money back. This is the type of stuff that's going on right now. It's unbelievable. We've got the attorney general who's now weighed in and said, this widespread election fraud is just, there is no base to it. It's just not true. I bet if President Trump had to do all of this legwork himself, I bet you he would have went ahead and conceded already. But he could sit there and bark orders, hey, do this, and do that, and he's not doing the legwork on his own. That's a lot of paperwork. That's a lot of legwork. That's a lot of filing. He's not doing it himself. So it doesn't cause him any frustration. I'm surprised that there aren't people in his cabinet who just refuse and say, no, I'm done. I'm done with it. It's getting to a point to where it's starting to look sad. It's starting to look weak. This doesn't look strong. What are you fighting for? I think it's up to 39 cases now that have been thrown out. So it's exhausting, to say the least. And we already know that the results are not going to change. Biden has now hit over 80 million votes. That it just is what it is. You may not like it, you may hate it, but the truth is that the Trump presidency pushed people left. That's what happened. It pushed people left. And now there's issues going on with senators down in Georgia. That's another story. We'll get to that another time. But we've got the attorney general who's saying, hey, no widespread election fraud. We'll see what happens here if Trump is going to turn against William Barr as well. I haven't looked into it. I didn't see any responses from him. Maybe there is. I haven't seen it as of yet. But we'll see what happens. But what is the end game? I'd love for someone to help me with this. What is the end game? We need to see what it is. Some type of answer to what's going on. Okay, file all these lawsuits, and then when they get thrown out, okay, move on to the next one. File another one, move on to the next one. File another one, move on to the next one. I don't know. Stay tuned to News USA.